60-second card.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 60-second car, the podcast that follows the entire franchise that is the Fast franchise. Do we call it the Fast franchise, the Fast and the Furious franchise, the Furious Franch, the series of unfortunate not deaths and superhuman people? I don't know. My name is Dan, and I'm joined by my co-host, as always, Daniel. Are you ready to get into this?
I'm ready. You got me thinking about all the titles and what would work. Fast-averse seems right, but Fast isn't in all the movie titles, but neither's Furious, so I don't know.
I think the Fastiverse is good.
That feels right.
The Furious-verse? Furious-verse? I don't know. It all sounds weird.
Isn't it a character from Harry Potter, Furious Cerberus?
Cerberus Snape. And
No, I think I said it right.
Katie! She said she heard that. She yelled she heard that from the other room.
What do you want, to be able to hear things award?
Yeah, is that the anti-Pete Holmes award? The award is not for speaking first, it's for hearing first.
Where are we at in the timestamp before we bring up Doug Benson shows?
Yeah, there's a speed run every episode to talk about a Doug Benson show. Why do you have this puzzled face?
I'm not hearing enough.
Oh no, you're fine. We were discussing what to call the Fast and the Furious franchise. You can just call it that because that's pretty much what it is. But I thought the Furious Franch is a good one. What would you say the Furious-iverse is under the Fastiverse?
Fast French dressing.
Fast French dressing, which is something probably by Kraft. Potentially, she says. I don't know. It's been a long week. I put together. I just turned in a writing sample that I worked a couple days on, and my brain is all mush. But it has been. We're here on the Tuesday, which is not normal, even though it's supposed to be.
This is what, our second Tuesday out of 5, and this is the day.
This is the day we've chosen to do these things on, and yet here we are on week whatever it is. We're on episode 13 technically, minute 12. Although it's not 10 is not going to be a numbered episode, obviously, and we're just going to call them minutes anyway. We're talking about minute 12 for those wondering, and we're jumping into a pretty interesting. I'm going to say the word interesting because as much as I use that word far too often, it is extremely interesting on how we just do this entire minute. There are some, what I would akin to prison rules and maybe how they do the entire just scenes or shots that they do. And I can only imagine what it was like to be on set doing them. It also now, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a sec, but now it is even becoming even clearer why this movie was almost called Race Wars.
Oh, okay. There we go. I was wondering what the hell you were talking about. Like, what movie is this, Dan?
It's very, very strange.
You slipped and you watched Oz instead.
I mean, like it feels like the director maybe has directed a prison movie of some sort or prison TV show or whatever it might have been, because quite literally, we'll see here in a sec, these shots are all just of singular races in individual shots.
I noticed that about probably an episode we're going to put out next week, that it's even more obvious that that's what's happening.
Yeah, it's this episode has those shots, but I also have a theory about the fact that there's more to this, which, you know, we might as well just jump into it. You want to jump into these screenshots?
Let's do it. What do you got?
First screenshot is obviously kind of the same screen we left off on as we ended last episode. which is Brian standing outside his car, looking like I'm gonna be honest, looking like a cop.
Yeah, looks like an absolute narc, and I think everyone's picking up on it too.
Yeah, he looks like he's a cop, and there's a scene in a second with Hector where he just kind of points him out, but also he points out his race, even though like I feel like most of these people here would be like, no, that's a cop, dude. He's just standing there, weird.
Yeah, Hector seems like he'd be like streetwise, but for some reason he's just like this guy's fun, whatever. Hector though.
You know how the default for people who say that, you know, whether they got bad grades in school or whatever, they call them, they're not book smart. The default is just to go straight to I'm street smart.
Sure.
I'll say this right now for everybody who says that. Make sure you're street smart before you say something like that, because I do feel like a lot of the people who say things like that probably also wouldn't see this guy as possibly looking like a cop, thus probably not street smart.
Guess who's not street smart? This guy. No, I'm okay.
I think you've been to enough festivals and have probably, I'm assuming, seen some stuff to where you've probably learned a few tips and tricks on how to stay away from danger.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are weird, and I do feel like music festivals and things like this tend to bring that out of people. As much as, you know, we all love going to a music festival.
I was at a mini one over the weekend, but it was barely a festival. It was just 4 bands playing one after another, but one of them happened to start at 4 o'clock, so they called it a festival. But I had a good time.
If the music starts before the sun goes down, it automatically is a festival.
I don't know. Like they were like, oh, it's 4 bands all playing full sets. The first band played 35 minutes, and I saw them play at another music festival for an hour, and they were like on at noon. That was more of an actual festival though. So I don't know. It was a good time.
What makes a festival?
Ooh, in my head, it's like multiple stages. It's like an all-day affair. There's like just lots of options for if you're not into the music, you can just fuck around somewhere else. A lot of food, a lot of drink options. It's basically, to me, it's like if someone took a carnival or a fair and they put more emphasis on bands.
Would you call the state fair where they have like akin to like Hootie and the Blowfish and things like that a festival?
One, they already call it a festival. They call it the food and is it Food and Wine Festival now? It's like the California State Fair Food and Wine Festival. But
yeah, that makes sense.
I guess they technically do have multiple stages going. But yeah, last year I went and I saw Smash Mouth there. So
there you go.
I guess I attended the festival.
Hey now.
They did that.
Yeah, absolutely. I do you have a minimum number of bands to call it a festival? Because I feel like 4 bands is a normal show.
Yeah, 4. I've seen longer shows that were normal shows that started at like 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Maybe like 2 stages and 6 bands on each, 5 bands on each, something like that, where they alternate or something.
Each. Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like if it's one stage, to me, that's not a festival. It's just a long show.
Interesting. Yeah. I find that to be a lot more, it would be probably a lot more efficient too, right? You see one band do their set, and then you just shift your attention to another stage, and you watch that band do their set while everybody's setting up the rest of the next band, and it just goes all day long.
Yep. I mean,
feel like it's pretty perfect.
I hit an Ozfest once where the first band was on at 10 a.m. and the next band was on at like 10:25 and so on.
But those Ozfests have such long lists of bands.
It's true. But then that was 2 stages. That was one band at a time on a stage and like 5 minutes in between. But then they realized, they could have a third stage and alternate those.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Music is actually going to be, I think, a pretty big topic for this episode and next, I believe. If not maybe the episode after that. But this, okay, so we have to talk about the fact that if they paid for licenses for this music, I wonder if they were like, we don't have any. So there's 2 options here. Either we didn't have any room to put all these other songs that we paid for, so we stuck them all here in the end, like the end of editing, or they were like, no, just gonna play a different song for pretty much each individual thing that we see here.
What I liken this to when I was watching it again was this reminds me of like professional wrestling, where everybody has their own entrance song.
Yeah.
And of course, Ja Rules is his own entrance song, is his own song.
Yes, of course. And thinking about this, and I know I've said this in the past, so and I should probably look this up. I don't know if you've looked it up. Ja Rule's song, I feel like I'm not hearing what I thought I heard. Because I thought the lyric was Too Fast, Too Furious, but it's something, is it something different?
So I've spent the last hour trying to find this song, because when I Shazammed it when it was playing, it came up with a song called Fuck You by Ja Rule.
Okay.
And on the soundtrack that they put out, Fast and Furious changed it to Furious. Great.
Okay.
It's the same exact song with a different title, and I listened to them both back to back to make sure. I don't hear the line that's in the movie in the song. So maybe it was added in editing.
Oh, interesting. It's definitely a musical lyric because it's not him saying it. It definitely doesn't sound like it, at least. But yeah, it's either like Too Fast, Too Furious, or it's like Be Fast, You're Furious, or something like that. I don't know. But either way, they say that just right about here. I think I'm at the screen where I think one of the songs starts. I think a new song starts. I don't remember which one it is.
In this minute, I have that Rollin' from the last minute continues, and then Fuck You by Ja Rule plays, and those are my needle drops I noted.
So this, I do remember getting this shot right here. This is when the track kind of moves over. It's kind of an aerial or a crane shot, looking down at, a bunch of different cars as they're kind of having this car meet, not the swap meet, but like a car meet before they go and do a race. So change locations, but I don't know how far they go. I know that we've talked about this, and I think we talked about this off air, but I think both of our Instagram algorithms are completely screwed up, and they're essentially one thing. I keep finding more and more memes to send to Daniel, and I'm sure that every time I hit the share button, Instagram's like, "Oh, this person really likes this thing, so let's keep feeding it to them."
Right now, I just went to search, and it is Simpsons stuff, which is what I do anyway. Mm-hmm. It's Zelda stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing a lot of Vin Diesel whatnot. Mm-hmm. And then Fast and Furious and people playing slap bass. So those are my interests right now, and honestly, I can't be mad. Because I brought this on myself, and I'm like, oh yeah, cool, let's watch this guy making something very weird in Tears of the Kingdom. I didn't realize you could make a robot.
We talk about this thing, and algorithms and AI are tools, right? And they're tools that can be used for evil, but the tools that they use for advertising things to you and showing off the things that they think you want to see often is extremely fine. I think it works most of the time. In fact, I'm okay with it. But I swear I'm not shilling here for AI. I'm just saying that there are certain situations where it works. This happens to be one of those situations because I think my feed is a lot of Fast and the Furious stuff. In fact, there's a few things that I think you and I have both been saying for all these episodes so far, and I think we've probably been saying this before we even started the podcast. But there are things that kind of confirm, or at least confirm that other people are thinking that. Then there are, then I have the Lord of the Rings. I have tons of Lord of the Rings stuff. Lots of behind the scenes of, Viggo Mortensen basically embodying Aragorn and being him in real life for some reason. Billy Boyd and, what's his name? The guy who plays Mary. They're being best friends. That's always fun. But more importantly, this and the Transformers and a few other movies Instagram has taught me that there's a name for these types of movies and also why we like them so much. That name is fast food movies. And it fits with the Fastiverse, the Furious Chise. Because how this was defined in this video was essentially they're movies that we know aren't good for us. They don't provide any nutritional value. They don't really give us anything that, is going to keep us living for a while or keep us artistic or whatever it is. but damn, they're delicious. And
Yep.
they're full of all the things that our taste buds just crave all the time.
I'm very much a music person, and I definitely have artists like that where I feel like I'm not getting any sort of artistic challenge. I'm not really like learning new tricks because I'm also like a very technical person when it comes to music. Like I watch techniques, what things are people doing, and like theory and all that bullshit. But like one of my favorite artists who I saw again for the fourth time, and I will absolutely see again, is Carly Rae Jepsen. So most people know "Call Me Maybe." That is the most bubblegum fast food song I could think of. But beyond that, she has songs that like harken to 70s pop and disco and stuff like that. But ultimately, like it's just fun, silly pop music, and I have a great time with it. And that to me is also what I'm getting from the Fast movies, or like we've restarted watching all the Marvel movies. I'm getting the same out of that. But also that's if that's probably dismissive of what they are as far as a bigger artistic whole for people who are really into the comics and graphic novels. But for me, who's not, they're on the same level. They're ridiculous action movies, and long week, sit down, just take it in.
Well, no, I think that's absolutely right? Because like I think DC has proven many times that they make movies for the comic book readers and the comic book lovers. I love the DC movies for those reasons. And Marvel movies are not necessarily made for them. They make references and they're like trying to follow an arc, but they make the movies that they know people are just gonna like and have a good time at and have some fun at the movies. Speaking of, I think we're gonna go see this new Spider-Man movie tomorrow, and it apparently is really good. Cool. And whether it has anything to do with any of the comics that have ever been made before, I don't care. I'm probably gonna have a blast. and that's I think that's the feeling that we feel when we come to watch these movies, which is essentially, I don't care what happens. I know what happens is gonna taste good. And that's all that's good. You reminded me, and this might be, something I'm making up in my head. Somebody else talked about Carly Rae Jepsen quite a bit, and for some reason Howard Kramer is coming to mind. Does that ring any bells to you? Because I know you know who that is.
I know who he is, but like my experience with him and stuff is rather limited, or at least has been for a while. But that seems like maybe he was on that Charted show, right?
Who Charted with Kulop? Yeah. So yeah, they did that show together, but he's on Comedy Bang Bang quite a bit. I mean, Who Charted is on Earwolf and stuff like that. But
sure.
But yeah, like I feel like he brings a lot of those bands into play because he's also, musically inclined and very talented and a silly goose. A lot of things that I think you guys share in common, but also it's one of those things where you kind of just have to, you can't be serious all the time.
Nah.
I think that's a boring way to live. And also it's kind of why, speaking of our Instagram algorithms yet again, it's also why I find it so hilarious to find so many haters who make content about the Fast and the Furious, and their content is mostly about how these movies are so bad and you shouldn't watch them. And the only reason that I think there was one, I think I sent you of somebody talking about the first movie is the only good movie because it's the only one you ever hear people quote. And I'm like, I know that we have a podcast about it, but you and I think probably quote several times in a year or month the other movies as well, right?
Oh yeah, it's also part like when you sent me that, I watched it and I was like, knowingly, I don't know what quotes from what movie anyway, but because I've seen them all. But like going through the quotes that I have so far, I don't feel myself going like, what's in that tuna sandwich particularly? But maybe I will now that I'm aware of it. But yeah, I think there's more than just that. Like that sounds to me like somebody who's watched them all once and was expecting some high art piece and didn't get that. Even though I don't think the first one, even though we're in it, is a high art piece either. So what do they want? What are they mad about?
That's the thing. And I think throughout most of the 2000s, this became prevalent. It's a lot of people watching movies and then being upset that the thing that they know and are maybe experts in, or at least close to experts in, or maybe they just think they are, see something inaccurate and go, this movie's trash because that's inaccurate. Because that happens a lot. I mean, we see this in video games constantly. Anybody who trashes Call of Duty or something like that because it's not realistic, first of all, if you have been in the military and maybe have seen actions or whatever it is, you don't want it to be realistic. Let's be honest. You don't want it to be like how it is, because either you have a boring job and you sit there and do nothing in your military zone, or you don't want to be in the middle of combat and battle because it's, scary and bad stuff happens. Like, you don't want that stuff.
So my dad was in the military, and he played the hell out of Call of Duty, and like from the early days, not like when zombies and stuff got involved, but like the early games he played the fuck out of on my PS2. And his gig was ammunition inspector. So he took me to work with him one time, and he was in a very thick-walled building in the middle of nowhere surrounded by bullets and grenades and shit. So I don't think he was really getting in the stuff. And him playing that game, it definitely wasn't realistic because he was taking multiple bullet shots and then keep going. So I get what you're saying. I feel like he probably doesn't want it to be realistic either. All these people that he knows, people he's like worked with and were considers friends. Yeah. They're so the first level of the game is like a year of you hanging out with these people, building relationships. It becomes The Sims, and then suddenly you go to war. That's the game that people want? No.
Yeah, exactly. And the people who, when the word NOS shows up, and then the people go, that's just nitrous oxide. It's just called nitrous oxide. I go, who cares? Why do you care? Stop this. And yeah, I think that there are so many things in this movie, kind of like what you just said, that really kind of aren't real or anything anyway. So why do we continuously have this expectation of, oh, they're gonna get better or more accurate or whatever it might be? No, just enjoy the food. Just enjoy the greasy French fries that are covered in salt. It's delicious. French fries delicious. I had some last night. That was my after stream snack. They were a little soggy because they're frozen, but they're French fries, man. I don't care.
It's still a good fry. It's still a good treat.
I did do some degeneracy things. I put semi-expensive salt on them, on some frozen French fries.
Fuck it, why not?
Because why not? It was delicious. But yeah, I was like, all right, cool. But anyway, I don't know. We get sidetracked on that kind of stuff all the time. But we go to exactly what I was talking about at the beginning of this episode, which is we get into like what you might see in somebody going to prison in a movie for the first time. They're like, oh, you come up and you have, this gang of people, and you have this gang of people, and you have this gang of people. But quite literally, they show this as if this is the theme at this place, when we all know they're all friends, right? They're all pretty acquainted. But you got Ja Rule, and then you introduce Hector, and then you introduce, I forget this guy's name. I don't think he ever does anything again. Actually, I don't think Ja Rule does anything in this again, but he's already famous.
All right, then if that's not the guy I think it was, I got to quickly fix some notes coming up.
Wait. Is he in here later?
Is this not the guy that like they get a shootout in?
No,
that is
not him.
No. All right, well, I have that guy's name later, and that's
Different
not what
guy.
I thought that was. Okay.
Yep, this is just some nerdy guy who is in the race with the rest of our cast, and he's the one that has the PlayStation in his truck, or his car, I mean. And he's playing like Gran Turismo or something here in a few more minutes after we'll record today. It'll be a different minute session. But we're introduced to our racers and their races.
The war has begun.
Like that's kind of what's happened. So for those who don't know, this movie's potential title at one point, before they asked for the title of The Fast and the Furious from this movie that we may or may not have talked about several different times in
So you're referring to the 1954 classic The Fast and the Furious, and if you've listened to these episodes, we are at the startling conclusion of my recap of the plot, because this is episode 12 did we decide? 13?
This is minute 12, yeah.
Minute 12, okay. And I don't recall if I did this in the recap episode, so that means this is probably 11 sentences. Anyway,
I don't think so.
This movie, spoiler for The Fast and Furious 1954.
A movie you've seen, by the way, right?
No, I've seen it come up in searches and I have not clicked on it. I feel like I should at this point, but I probably won't. This movie ends with his successful entry into Mexico and him driving off into the sunset. So somewhere along the line, they decided this title was too good to let go, so they adapted the title and not much else. But yeah, this was supposed to be called Race Wars, which is something that is a theme, a name of something that comes up throughout the franchise a couple times. And it's like, it's what Han
does it
and
really?
Giselle have. Yeah, they come back to it in a later movie.
Oh, I don't remember that. Okay.
But when it's talked about, it reminds me of when Giselle and Han are talking about Tokyo. When it's with Dom and Letty, there's always race wars.
Yeah, kind of. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, it's so weird. Like, so when I heard Race Wars for the first time, I was pretty young. I didn't think I thought much of it at the first time. And then as I got older and like rewatched it, and I watched this, and I just uncontrollably started laughing when he mentions, he goes, well, this thing called Race Wars. I'm like, wait, what? and now after doing these screenshots, because I didn't really notice, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really notice that they just kind of collected people in their, racial groups here. When I was doing these screenshots, I go, no, maybe they did know what they were doing when they almost named it Race Wars. Because like, no, I don't never necessarily think that they were trying to do something like this, but I also don't know the director very well, because he only did 2 movies, right? Or did he only do one?
He has a rather lengthy
for this franchise, sorry.
For this franchise, I think it might be 2, but
I think it's
very
this
minimal.
one and the second one. But you kind of like, you understand that maybe he didn't pass the vibe check,
I mean, he's not a good guy, so it seems likely that maybe he did this on purpose. So he's only done the first one, but he also did the Vin movie Triple X.
Oh, he did.
That could be what you're
Triple
thinking.
X.
Yep.
Which came
after
this. Okay. Yeah, because Pitch Black was the year after as well, right?
I don't have his filmography up. I have the director's currently.
Right. So I'm just like, I'm just thinking quite literally about the fact that Vin Diesel worked a lot in the early 2000s.
Oh yeah.
He had a bunch of stuff, and then I think the Chronicles of Riddick were probably like late 2000s. But yeah, I mean, anyway, they're I don't know. It's possible that he was just a not a good guy. Oh no, we mentioned that there may have been some bad stuff about him anyway. But yeah, you're like, this is weird. This is a little jarring. Because we go over to Hector, and we've got. Okay, I will say there's a token white guy in both of these already, though. So on the far right, there's just a white dude there. The far left, there's like a guy that looks kind of like Tony Hawk in a way.
Oh yeah. Maybe it is Tony Hawk. I feel like he'd be down for these. Just
he would be absolutely
mindless cameo in the back.
Because he did Back to the Future 3? And that's when he was, I think he did Back to the Future 3. He was this one of the skateboarders, him actually, and some other skateboarders in that scene. He just brought a bunch of pros, and he kind of got people into the entertainment industry from the skateboarding world. And so that springboarded a lot of that stuff. So him being in here wouldn't surprise me one bit. I don't think that's him, but if he was, yeah, like you said, it wouldn't be surprising. But now you got a bunch of people in here that look like, my cousins and uncles. So like, we have these guys. Also, we'll see in a sec, who's the first dude that Dom talks to as he gets out of the car? It's just one of these guys. It's just one of these Mexican guys.
Okay, that's what I thought.
It's not a character. It's not like a main character or anything. It's just one of these Mexican dudes, and I'm like, they very much have this sort of thing going. Like they're like the director or whoever wrote it or whoever decided to do that was just like, oh, this makes sense. And I think maybe in 2023, this is why we think it's weird, but it's a little on the nose, or at least a little weird to be doing stuff like this.
Well, what I think's interesting about like them all being essentially segregated in their groups is that Dom's crew is, they eventually become more diverse, but they're a diverse crew already. There's question mark Don, there's Letty, and then there's the white guys in there. So like he's already I mean, I don't believe they have anybody of Asian descent in their crew yet.
yet.
They'll get there. But like that's his family is of all people. So he's the one bringing all this together anyway. So the fact that he pops out of his car and just says hey to everybody and everybody looks up to him.
Yeah, just there.
That's what happens if you're multifacial.
Yeah, exactly. And then we go over to our Asian crew, and then we okay, I want to talk about this scene a little bit. So this is the scene where Hector spots Brian.
Right.
And he mentions the line, "Look at this snowman right here."
I have so many notes about Hector. Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
So I just wanted to point out this screen that we had. This girl that's on his lap, if you watch this in like slow-mo, she has no idea what her eyeline's supposed to be. She's looking it looks like she's looking for her eyeline, and maybe she's acting, and maybe this is a choice of like him saying, "Hey, look at this snowman over here, what's he doing?" And she's like, Who are we talking about here? And maybe that's why, but her eyes are all over the place. I don't think we understand it, or we don't know what's going on here. I will say everybody looks like they're having a great time.
Yeah.
But
like, I don't know how long people get here. I don't know how long the first people were here. Like, the first person gets to the car meetups. Is he just like pacing the alley waiting for everybody to roll up? knowing how I am, that'd be me because I'm early to everything. Just like there, half hour early.
Party.
Yep, that's absolutely me.
Yep. Well, if you do that, I mean, I'm sure that this actually you probably are experienced with this. If you show up early to a Mexican party, you'll get put to work. That's for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, you'll be putting out chairs, you'll be laying tablecloths, you'll be doing something. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're the first ones here setting up for the party. I don't know what's going on. But the point is, in my bad brain in the meta of this and how films are made is when they're shooting these things, I am curious to know if everybody is on set all at the same time, or if these are shots that are made or done by themselves, and we're just like, okay, can we get all the black people to go over here? Okay, we're gonna do this shot. Okay, everybody leave. Let's get all the Mexican guys to go over here. Okay, get rid of that shot. It's just like it feels weird.
Bring in our white guy, put him in the back.
yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, it's weird, right?
It would have been weirder if it was the same white guy. But it would be hilarious.
If it was like Jesse in every shot.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, go ahead. It's Hector.
I really want to talk about Hector. So played by Noel G, aka actually that's his aka Guglielmi. This is his 6th role after The Animal. I did not get his age for some reason, but never mind. His Wikipedia is fascinating.
Yeah, he's got all kinds of roles.
He has crazy roles, like so many roles. TV, movie. He was in Buffy. He was in Angels, a different role. Mm-hmm. He has a note on his Wikipedia page that says he has notoriety for playing characters named Hector.
Yep.
I counted them up. He has 8 roles where he plays Hector, and 2 of them are in Fast, which means there's 7 different roles named Hector. Which then started a whole snowball effect of Control F searches. He's played a character named Angel 4 times. He's played some variation of John or Johnny 3. He's played Jose 4 times. And he played my favorite title character, Lord of the Garbage, in what you ask, in a movie called Duck. Duck is a movie about a very sad man in a dystopia who befriends a duck. And the character names are Arthur, Leopold, Podiatrist, Lord of Garbage, the Jumper, Norman, and apparently the duck in the movie Duck is the Affleck duck. So this is a star-studded cast. And one of the characters is Lord of the Garbage. So we all need to go find Duck and watch it.
I just ran across one of his previous movies.
What do we got?
That he plays Hector in. He plays a Hector in. It's Ghetto Busters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's a Ghostbusters spoof, but it is a Ghostbusters spoof of some sort. At least that's what the poster here is for. Ghetto, and in the O is a marijuana leaf. Busters. Join these misfits of wannabe superheroes that are led by three jalapeno of all trades.
What?
That's the title. Follow Jalapeno as he creates a laser pack and that can change a non-role model citizen into the best citizen on this planet.
Okay, I have a question, and I don't mean it fully. I am joking about 80%. I know, like, in other languages, names jump from, like, this name is John in whatever language you have. Jalapeno is not a sub for Jack, is it?
No,
Right, it cannot be.
Do you want to know the year this came out?
Please.
2019.
Oh, I caught something on this similar, because, like, he's had notoriety for playing Hector's. Last time he played Hector, was Ghetto Busters. So he's keeping at it. I mean, he's working. He's a busy man. He seems stoked about it. He's also a motivational speaker, so he's getting out there and hopefully doing good things for young people as well.
Yeah.
But I love Hector. He's a character I'd love to spend more time with in these movies, and I know he comes back in a later one. But gone too soon.
I can't picture that. I don't remember which one that is for some reason.
7. I only know that because it's right in front of me.
Oh, weird.
Yep.
It's as far as the movies I've rewatched, 7 might be on the low end of the list, so that makes sense. But yeah,
is that the airplane one?
7 is the airplane one?
I'm asking, is 7 the airplane one?
7.
No, that's the one where that's
not. 8, isn't it?
Yes, I think you're right.
Yeah, that's 8. Yeah.
7's the one they bring down the parking garage.
Right.
Yeah.
Is 7 the Dubai one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I definitely haven't seen much of that. Or I haven't seen that many times, I should say. But yeah, that's the one. Yeah, there's a great scene in that one that I saw that popped across my Instagram thing, where Dom just lifts a supercar like it's a deadlift. It's just crazy. Anyway, Hector, so yeah, he is this guy who plays this guy many, many, many times, and he plays it so well. Like, can I be typecast as the Mexican guy? That's just what he is. He's typecast as the Mexican guy. That seems fine. I'm into it. But yeah, he plays this, and but it's also, as we'll see later on, the guy that Dom trusts the most, probably in this group.
Yeah, I think so.
And he's looking over and looking at the snowman, apparently.
Also, that's funny.
He's quick. He's quick on his feet. And he spots Mr. Paul Walker, aka Brian O'Connor, or Brian Spillner. Yeah,
Spillner, white boy name.
Yep, Brian. Also white boy middle name too. I forget what it is though. Brian Earl Spillner.
Wow. I thought I had a white boy middle name, Scott.
Scott? It's fine though. At least it's normal. Earl is weird.
For some reason, yeah.
And I think they made it up. I think the cops made it up. So
yeah.
So yeah, Brian Earl Spillner sitting next to his car looking, and this so I mentioned the screen earlier where he looks like a cop. He absolutely looks either like a cop or a lost child here.
Yep.
And
I know that, like, he's new to this crew and whatever, and a bunch of people are going to walk up to him. He's going to try and, earn trust, whatever. But the fact that he's alone in all these shots is so sad to me.
It's super sad. Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
then when he's just trying so hard, too.
Yeah. So, like, I think we understand. He's young. We don't know. I don't know what age. I don't know what age he is here. But he's obviously been a cop for a little bit. I don't know if he's been through an academy or whatever it might be. But we know he's like young, but not like kid young, not like 19 years old or anything, but like well over 20. And yeah, he's just standing here like, I think this is what I'm supposed to do. When we're looking at the group shots of introducing each of these like kind of side main characters, I know that we're supposed to be looking through Brian's eyes because it does cut back to him as he scans and looks at each one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe this is just maybe this is pre-commentary for we as the audience maybe wouldn't see the races grouped up like this, but maybe because he's a cop, he's trained to do this.
Oh, maybe
and he just has a filter.
Damn.
Just a filter in his eyes that just do these things.
He's profiling everybody in
exactly.
this alley.
And yeah, that's when Hector walks up to him and asks him a question. Do you know what the question is?
Oh, I don't remember.
It says something like, "Is this your car?" or something like that. And then
what have you got under there? Or something to that effect. And
right.
he's like, "I'll show you later." Something
No,
like
he doesn't
that.
say anything. He says nothing. He just looks at him, and then he goes. And then Hector says something along the lines of, "You're gonna make me find out the hard way." And then Brian says, "Hell yeah," or whatever his "hell yeah" is, and then he gives this smirk right here. Because he thinks he's getting this respect and like this in at the moment, and he's into it. This is also the most baby face I think we see Brian.
Oh yeah.
Like I said
in the last episode, when he loses his mind in his like fake job place, when he's looking at all the NOS, he's gone. He wants in this world so bad now. The cop thing is no longer a priority, and this is further proof that he just wants to be a race man.
Yeah,
whatever that means.
There's multiple meanings to this. Yeah, so that's a good point, because this smile could mean one of two things, and I think you're talking about the real thing is what this smile is, because this smile could mean, oh, I'm not getting caught for being a cop, right? Or I'm not getting called out, or whatever. My undercover is working. That's one idea that can make him smile. But the other idea, which is probably the more truthful idea, is, oh, I'm now being introduced to this group of racers that I want to be in. And
yeah, that's where I'm going.
Yeah, he's feeling accepted, right? And I think this may or may not be the first time he's really felt that way in his life.
Aww.
Yeah, so then he starts to open up the hood, and he pops the hood, and then that's when we get our over-the-shoulder look at Mr. Ja Rule.
Yeah, I've got Ja Rule looks on as my last note.
Do you know his name?
Oh, yeah. You want his character name or his actual name?
His character name.
This is Edwin.
Yeah, Edwin. Right. Which Dom mentions, I think, in the next minute. He goes, Edwin, after he talks about Hector, which is just hilarious. Great name.
I have more on Ja Rule in the next minute, so
yeah.
Cliffhanger there. But yeah, Ja Rule looks over his shoulder, just sticking out like a sore thumb.
I mean, yeah, he doesn't really have much shape to his face, so it's kind of a thumb anyway. His face is very much, it's very round. Like it's thin, right? He's probably in good shape at this point too. It's very thin, but it's very round. It's very just like one shape. I don't know why I mentioned.
You keep talking like this, he's gonna get you with some murder.
Murder. Yeah, I mean, I'm just disappointed, not in him necessarily, but in the franchise not keeping him around. Because we're about these next few minutes. If you're watching or listening to this, savor it. If you're a Ja Rule fan, savor it, because the only time you're gonna see him.
It's so weird that he isn't utilized ever again.
Yeah, it is weird.
Like it seems like everyone else who's alive has come back, but nah.
Yeah, so Harry we know is gone.
Yeah,
Ja
I mean,
Rule,
I'm not Harry.
Ja Rule is gone. But they don't die. Maybe that's the thing. If they would have died at some point in this race or these movies, maybe they would have come back.
Oh, this reminds me actually. Since we're talking about Ja Rule, he's playing Lincoln in September. Should I go?
He's playing Lincoln?
Yeah, they at the casino out there.
He's still playing?
Yes, he is. He's been touring a lot with Ashanti, and this is not one of those dates. But yeah, it's the V101 block party. Co-headliner TBA, but Juvenile is one of them. Next and N2 Deep, who I don't know those other two, but yeah, Ja Rule's still out there with committing murder.
With Ashanti, who he had a very big hit with her.
A bunch. Like, I didn't realize how much they have toured together for a while, and they do full sets together. So
yeah, I mean,
there, man?
I'm trying to keep the focus. But
maybe
yeah,
it's like Bigfoot. Maybe you're naturally blurry.
It might be. Yeah. It's not that people can't take a picture of me. It's just that I'm naturally blurry. But I mean, yeah. Do you say you were going or thinking about going?
Should I go? We'll see about that if I actually go.
I mean, what's that? Thunder Valley? That's a fine place. You can get some good food there. But yeah, I don't know. What do we know what he looks like now?
I would bet about the same.
Probably. Yeah, he's a bit thicker, but he looks pretty much the same. I'm sure he's still pretty jacked.
He's got that cool ass voice.
Yeah, he does have a cool voice. Yeah, that's also why I kind of wanted him to stick around, because he just provides a nice voice. But yeah, I mean that's our entire minute 12.
Yeah, that's.
We're into. I think we're into a little bit of a. Lots of things to talk about, but not much happening. Right? This episode or this minute is very very powerful and very important because we introduced three characters technically. One is only really memorable because it's Ja Rule. The other guy, I think we just forget about immediately. And then we're introduced also to Hector, which, like you said, is a character that could be in the same boat as these other two and just not ever be mentioned again. But, he makes his comeback. He's a hardworking dude. So yeah, that's minute 12. I think we covered some cool stuff. I know I repeat myself in this podcast a lot, and I think you're gonna probably hear that a lot again. But for some reason I feel like it just has to be said over and over again. I also sometimes forget what I say in previous episodes, so that's gonna be a thing to hold on to. But
what's happening, Dan? You okay?
No, I just overly apologetic, I guess.
All right.
But yeah, that was minute 12. If you enjoyed that, please make sure that you're subscribed over on YouTube, where we post these videos there every time that a new episode comes out. Same time, no different like early specials or anything. But if you want to watch it in video form, you can do it there. You can do it live. Watch us live. Record these on twitch.tv/Danotage. Or you can find this on your favorite podcasting app. You can find Daniel, aka Ovacord, on all platforms, and go listen to Far Beyond Metal. If you're a metalhead like myself, or you just really like interviewing of musicians and listening to interesting stories, I think that there's always some great insight and some cool things that happen there.
I tried my best.
Other than that, you can follow us at 60 Second Car on most platforms. Go check out our link tree. I'll have a website up soon where everything links to. You can just go there for everything. Or if you want to send in some of your thoughts, and maybe if you want to do like a voice recording and give us a thought on something we played in a previous episode, I think we can make that happen. Just email us at 60secondcar@gmail.com. And with that, I'll see you later.
Family. Oh, this effect is subtle. Oh, there it is. If I hold it. Family phaser. Cool.
I'm leaving all that in.
Good.